Jared, what are we drinking tonight?
Oh, this is the Doctor. This is homemade. This is a bit of a fountain beverage. You know I keep that bib. What do we got? Racetrack. Ooh, has it got some chewy ice there?
You know what's weird is I go crushed ice, even though I haven't eaten the crushed ice in a long time. But I still prefer it.
I like to think of it as an insurance policy. You might not always use it, but you want to make sure that you always have it.
When your wife was pregnant, did she get a weird craving like that? My wife wanted crushed ice all the time, or nugget ice. So it was always the Racetrack or the Zaxby's or Chick-fil-A. Whoever had like the tiny little pebble nugget ice had to get a big cup of that every day.
My wife only had a craving to crush me. Because it was my fault. I put her in that situation.
Gotcha. Jared, what minute are we looking at today?
Well, as the crow flies, it is episode 18.
You didn't have like a fancy, like cute little pun about 18? Or were you like waiting for a natural segue into it and I blew it?
I will say, yeah, I generally wait until we're kind of like in the middle of something else to see like how far we're out as kind of a challenge to bring it back in. And
we didn't start with any like unrelated business. I'm going to blame me.
We weren't talking about Nickelback or anything. So,
do you want to get into Nickelback? Do you have thoughts?
I have a few thoughts on Nickelback. Maybe not any that anyone cares to hear.
Great.
So we'll just leave it there. So, minute 18.
Great segment.
Wait, real quick. I just want to make sure. Do you have any thoughts on Nickelback? I don't want to know what they are. I just want to know if you have them.
Yes. Welcome to our new weekly segment of whether or not we do have thoughts about Nickelback. And Jared has a few, and I have like maybe half a thought about Nickelback. And we're not going to get into what the thoughts are.
Yeah. I think I will do sort of a Guess Who style, though.
How many thoughts about the Guess Who do you have?
I wasn't ready for that. I have about as many as you would think, and none of them are surprising, as compared to my thoughts on Nickelback, which I think you might find surprising.
I think you are a natural contrarian, so I bet you have some pretty non-internet friendly takes on Nickelback. That's my thought.
Yeah, so they might surprise the royal you, but not you specifically.
Because I know you well enough that you're going to defend Nickelback a little bit. Not completely, but a little bit. How far off am I?
I don't know if I can say how far off you are because, again, I don't think we should get into it.
We're not sharing our thoughts on Nickelback. We need everyone to know that we have a few thoughts on Nickelback. Probably about 2.5 thoughts total on Nickelback, and neither you nor I will be sharing them.
Correct.
Jared, name any song by the band The Guess Who.
Name any song? Not even like name 3 songs?
No, name
8 songs?
Name any song.
Okay. Wagon Wheel.
No.
Wagon Wheel Part 2.
Yes. Wagon Wheel Part 2, more famously known as American Woman, but in parentheses, you've got Wagon Wheel Part 2. Not many people know that.
What about is it No Time?
Oh, I don't know. I closed the tab already.
Oh, These Eyes. These Eyes.
Is that the Guess Who?
I assume what you're doing is going from Canadian band to Canadian band because Nickelback is also Canadian, right?
I think you said the words Guess Who, so I thought about that band too.
No, I just appreciated your national consistency.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a
young boy, my father took me into the city.
My father gave me his record collection, is what happened when I was a young boy. My dad gave me like his whole like stereo setup, like back when it was like a receiver and cassette deck and CD unit and turntable. Like all of them were like separate, like sort of rectangles that had different shelves on the component, you know?
Still have my dad's.
And I got his records too. And I think that's around the time that I realized that like my dad didn't have a cool record collection. I kind of thought of it as this like emotional moment of like, ooh, I'm gonna learn so much. I'm gonna like dig into all these like old bands that like I never knew about. And I didn't get into any of my dad's bands. He had one record by The Who, and I thought that was pretty good. I liked The Who pretty good. I didn't like REO Speedwagon or the Guess Who or Steve Miller Band. Like, I didn't like my dad's records.
I got lucky, I suppose. My dad definitely did a bit of a different approach to what millennials would call his vinyl collection. Not that era didn't call it vinyl, but yeah, I think you'd say record collection. Yeah, my dad's was mostly Motown, so I got really lucky.
That is kind of cool.
And, you know, with the odd, like more predictable stuff, Beatles, Peter Frampton, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. As a kid, like I had my parents had me listening to Bruce Springsteen and the Beatles, and I liked that stuff. I thought it was great. But then I got the record collection, and no Beatles, no Bruce Springsteen. I don't know why. My dad only had bad records.
I think it was not that the collection was bad. It's just that you didn't receive the collection at the right time.
When does one get into Steve Miller Band?
I think you will in your late 50s.
Okay, I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Let me set a reminder on my calendar right now to check back in with you. Late 50s, you say?
Yeah.
So another 15 years or so?
Oh, speaking of long things that we need to check in on, I think we're only a couple years away from an agreement that you and I had around electric vehicles.
Yeah. No self-driving cars.
Oh, was it?
I think so.
Okay.
You tell me what you think the wager was, and I'll tell you how wrong you are.
I think what we win was a cruise, right?
Yes, there was a cruise on the line. I think we even made this bet while we were on a cruise that like within a certain amount of years, here's how I remember it, is that, what was it, 20 years?
I think so, yeah.
So 20 years from whenever we took that cruise, which is probably about 12 years away now, 13. I'm guessing. We should have written this up.
I feel like it's in my calendar somewhere.
I think
it will probably pop up at some point. I'll be like, hey.
One of us thought that cars will be 100% self-driving. And then the other one of us thought that they would not be. I can't remember what side of this argument I was on.
Oh, I do. You were very bearish, we'll say.
Okay.
I was very bullish. So the wager, I remember something along the lines of like, okay, well, it'll be half. It'll be 50% of the like driving
will be
force.
Done automated.
Yeah. Because I think now is, okay, the rate of change is quite fast, but there are these edges where it starts falling off as you get more and more rural, as you get less and less economically stable. Like there are going to be these areas that are going to be holdouts. So I'm like, all right, it's not about getting to 100%. It's about getting to 50%.
Okay.
So yeah, let's say we've got 12 years or so left before it's 50% self-driving. And I'm still somewhat bullish on that.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Speaking of the Steve Miller Band,
which you will be playing in your self-driving car.
Right. And really, according to your predictions, really enjoying it. Fly Like an Eagle, Bass Jam soundtrack, I Believe I Can Fly, R. Kelly, hanging out with people who are under, that's right, 18. And we're looking at the 18th minute of Home Alone.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. What happens in minute 18, though?
Jerod, I'm so glad you asked. We are at the tail end of our American Airlines flight attendant getting the McCallister family onto this plane. And they get on the plane and they're so happy. And then we get what I would argue is the best cut in the whole movie when we go back to Kevin, who is not on the plane. And then we get back to the plane and then we get back to Kevin. And that's our minute. It's a pretty quick one. They're all 60 seconds long, but this one has fewer beats.
It's not as informationally dense.
Correct. I think we're kind of out of those like exposition heavy, like all the dominoes have been set up and now we're kicking them down. So now we just get to watch it all unravel and we're kind of coasting downhill on the bicycle now, which is great.
Yeah, which is what the whole family's doing down the jet bridge at the very start of this. But right before that, right as the minute turns over, there is a bit of creepy that doesn't read as creepy in this film. And that's all of the children in unison going, thank you. The gate agent is telling them about, first class and economy and all of that and saying...
Single seats only in coach. Single seats only in coach, which is, again, a very important line.
So, take whatever's available. But all of the children in unison, thank you, back to her, which just feels strange. And I think if we weren't just really quickly moving along in this scene and there wasn't this run, Rudolph happening underneath it, I think we would all be frightened. But all of those other things make us feel strangely comfortable with it.
Spoiled? Sure. Entitled? Sure. Impolite? No way.
No.
Not these
Not
McCallisters.
The McCallisters.
No. To flight attendants, at least. Airline employees, we're going to be polite to. Uniformed police officers, no. We have no time for that.
Yeah, I was just hoping that all of them in unison would be like, I don't live here.
Well, I mean, they don't. I mean, but the McCallisters are the first ACAB family, right? all cops are burglars. We know this.
Once we get onto the plane, I do like the variety that we are able to see of all of the folks on the plane. We see three things: the young, the old, and mimosas. There's literally an infant and some grandpa fellow in a sweater.
Yes. You got to think that this is the moment. Maybe they're all extras, right? Maybe they're all extras. But this would be the point in the movie where I would fill it up with all my buddies and relatives and just pals. Hey, do you want to go sit in an airplane for 3 hours while we shoot this shot? Yeah, that sounds great. You know that there are some of Chris Columbus's and John Hughes and production managers, cousins and dads and stuff like that swimming around in first class here.
You think this is the scene where they have put non-seat fillers?
Yeah. I think this is where they're kind of flexing their power and getting some parents and kids and maybe women they're trying to impress, like in the movie for fun. But again, maybe I'm way off on that.
So this scene as an extra is the silver tuna.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, because maybe the champagne is free.
Oh, yes.
It's free, isn't it?
Such a good Uncle Frank line. He's showed up so late and he's still asking. He still wants accommodation.
Well, he could use the same excuse he used for the pizza guy. He'd be like, this is my brother's delay.
This wasn't my fault. Champagne. It's free, isn't it? Where is she taking their coats, Jerod?
In the closet, in the front. There's generally a coat closet right up there.
Okay.
Wait, I think I missed some subtext in your question.
There was no subtext. I didn't know where she was taking those coats. If I had a big winter coat that I was taking on an airplane, I wouldn't give it to the flight attendant to hang up. But I'm not flying first class.
Yeah, there is a coat closet there. I see a lot of guys in their like suit jackets that they, blazers. They're handing them off when they sit down.
Fun. Must be nice.
I don't know, but then that guy has to do a PowerPoint over the course of the 3 hours on that flight. So
those guys working on their PowerPoints.
You go to one of the big four consulting firms and sell your soul. I think it's worth it. I'd trade that in and just keep my coat.
I would hire some kid who flies coach to transfer all my PowerPoints to Canva for me to make them look nice.
Do you think if you were doing a presentation, let's say on the Home Alone Minute, you're pitching it, right?
Okay.
You're pitching the Home Alone Minute to an exec. Let's just say we've got you a few generals, right? We've got you a few of the studios. We've given you a week in LA. I've got you a few generals with the studios. I want you to pitch Home Alone Minute as a much larger production. Do you think you stand a better chance if you're doing the pitch on PowerPoint / Google presentations?
Slides.
A slide deck, right? Sorry, Google Slides. A slide deck or on Canva?
Canva.
You think Canva, really?
Yeah.
Is that because of the feature set or your skill set?
Feature set.
Say so much more.
They have the templates and functionality that people just aren't tired of seeing yet. So it's a little more engaging.
And that's why this week's episode is brought to you by Canva.
Canva, for all of your Imagine Dragon drop design needs. Canva.com. It's radioactive.
American woman.
Use our promo code, the Guess Who.
If we were voting two different categories of lines for this, one being the cheekiest line and two being the best exposition, I think Peter gets best exposition, which is just saying, we made it.
I think best exposition in this minute goes to the American airline employee who says single seats only in coach. Take whatever's free. Because that lets us know that no one's looking for Kevin. No one's sitting beside each other. They don't have 11 empty seats all next to each other.
Yeah, I guess I was more saying redundant exposition, like the kind that I tend to not care for. Did Peter need to say, we made it?
I think for us to have the natural rhythm of Kate saying, I hope we didn't forget anything, I think we do need him to say that.
Could he not have said, that was close?
Sure, that's fair.
Or any number of other things. But yes,
You know what, Jerod, how dare you? How dare you question the decisions of Misters John Hughes, Chris Columbus, John Hurd, the two Johns and the Chris? America waits for your apology.
It's not coming. Although, do we have the screenplay?
I don't have it pulled up. Give me a moment. Talk amongst yourselves.
Does our producer have the Jeopardy song here?
We can't afford it. And I am the producer.
We can't afford not to use it.
We should be playing some Guess Who. Whatever's second most played on Spotify for the Guess Who. We should use this as an educational experience. How much of the Guess Who can we play before we get sued?
I'm going to see if I can pull up the Guess Who before you can pull up the screenplay.
Okay, that's fair.
Come on, Sportify.
Is first most played Guess Who song American Woman?
I see the top 5. Would you like to guess them? Would you like to guess who them?
The only Guess Who song that I can guess is American Woman. I can't name another one.
Okay. So luckily you guessed the first most popular and the third.
So,
because it's just a different version. I think it's the single version.
The 1987 remaster.
So it's American Woman, These Eyes, American Woman 7-inch single version, No Sugar Tonight, and then No Time. So, yeah, I did all right.
The screenplay has Peter saying, "We made it," and Kate McCallister responding, "I hope we didn't forget anything."
Oh, she must have ad-libbed the "Can you believe it?" See, this is sort of the balance, the electrons and the protons here. Like, for every line that was maybe a little less than stellar, she's going to come in there and beef it up.
Good old Catherine O'Hara.
Love it.
Always beefing. Always beefing up.
She's like
Drake and Kendrick Lamar.
I was about to say K-Dot. Yeah. Like, yep, they beefing. I think we only get one of those references we're allowed.
Jerod, name a Drake song.
That I don't think I can do.
See?
American Woman. Sorry, American young lady.
He's famously Canadian too. So let's see. So yeah, screenplay is exactly as we see it.
Okay. So after she says that, which again is the cheekiest line, straight to the best cut.
It's just the best cut.
So good.
I hope we didn't forget anything. And then we get to that cut of that door. We see the door for just long enough before it opens. And Kevin, now pajamaed, comes out from the third floor.
There are no lines per se, but tell me if this is not what you believe his inner monologue to be. In no attempt to do a Macaulay impression, the line would be, why is it so quiet? I guess I don't care. I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. The back burner of his brain realizes something is amiss, but it's not computing just yet.
And then we cut back to
a screaming airplane. A screaming American Airlines airplane taking off, which is also another really good cut. Like, just to really drive it home that, yeah, they're leaving without him.
Well, and also those dynamics. I love that. So after we cut from her, it goes way down, right? It goes
to silence.
To silence.
Which this house hasn't been silent yet.
Yeah. And,
so
and he's noticing that.
Yes. So to jump back to the airplane, and it's so loud, that's the family. That's all the loudness, the chaos of the family, all the stress leaving Kevin.
And then again, highlighting the dynamics there, coming back from the plane to the wider shot, him coming out of the bathroom.
Right. You can barely hear that toilet flush, but it does show up when you have the captions on.
Oh, what does it say underneath? Like sex noises?
No, I think it says toilet flushes.
What are some of your favorite of those captions? Like upbeat music plays?
Yes. The generic music descriptions are always really fun.
But he comes out into his Christmas themed home. I know we've spoken about it a lot, but this is a great shot for getting a lot of reds, a lot of greens. We've got
what color are his pajamas?
They're dark. I don't know if they're green or if they're blue.
They're blue.
Yeah.
Sure hope someone got fired over that blunder.
Just sticking on the red-green thing here. What green things and red things do you remember from this shot?
This wide shot when he's coming out of the bathroom.
Yeah.
The plants are there, right?
Yep.
Like we have those weird hall plants. And again, I just see a lot of wallpaper.
Except for the green wall, which we see in the initial shot next to the door, right? Like that side green wall is solid. It obviously has like the white, what do you call that? What's the like lower third bit? This just shows you how little I know about interior design, but that lower third that's white. It's not
Like a chair rail?
Yeah, but what would you call everything under that?
Oh, I don't know.
Like from there down to the trim, you have
Yeah.
what?
We call that the legs of the wall.
Right.
Hi, everybody. Sonny from the Home Alones here, editing this podcast. After we recorded this, we looked up the word we were trying to use, and it's wainscoting. We were looking for wainscoting, but this stupid conversation was just too stupid to take out. So here you are.
So Wall Legs, who this fall will be putting out their album Hall Plants.
Wall legs, hall plants?
Hall Plants by Wall Legs.
They're opening up for wet leg. Are you saying that the legs of the wall are green?
No, those are white. I'm just saying
Okay.
This was like super tangent because, again, I was saying, oh, those walls are the ones without wallpaper and those are the ones that are solid green. But then I had to correct myself because I was like, it's not entirely accurate to call them solid green because the lower third is...
Because we have the legs of the wall.
Right. The torso of the wall is green.
Interior decorators and home designers listening, email us at thehomealoneminute@gmail.com.
Right. The Home Alone Minute
@gmail.com, and let us know what the legs of the wall. Oh God! I know. I never say it's like a thick trim that goes.
It's a third of your wall. Like it's from that. So it's from chair rail down to trim, because it's not an accent, because it's very rarely a color. It's usually contrast. It's usually white to contrast whatever you have above. Just what is that section called?
We don't need to know, but this is.
I'd
what we
love
do.
to know.
Would be helpful.
But if you will, would you like the honors of saying how we end this minute? What stage direction?
This is in the script.
Perfect. Okay.
It's in the script that he flushes the toilet, comes out of the bathroom, and he's coming down the stairs, and he scratches his butt.
It's perfect. Just woke up direction.
Yeah, it's not even direct. It's in the script that he's got to scratch his butt.
Well, he's got to.
He's bound by the story.
What a way to end this minute.
It really conveys his aloneness. Who among us does not scratch their butts when alone? He doesn't even know he's alone, but he's doing it.
Oh, so you read it as even a subconscious cue that he knows he's alone.
Again, the back of his brain does know. The front of his brain doesn't yet.
So good. What'd you say that email address was again?
thehomealoneminute@gmail.com. Which, if you'll allow me, Jerod, we have some actual emails to sort of catch up on.
To sort of catch up on, or to catch up on?
Well, catch up on.
Okay.
No sort ofs about it. We've got an email from our good friend Steven. Steven is a longtime listener.
Is he the front man for Wall Legs?
Yeah. Steven is the lead singer and 5-string banjo player of Wall Legs.
Steven, if it hasn't been mixed yet, I would love to feature somewhere on Hall Plants. So let me know.
First, Steven would like to give a shout out.
How much do we charge for shout outs?
No, I already replied back that it would be $400. And Steven said, here's $800. So we're actually going to give 2 shout outs to Jamie. Jamie, Steven sends his well wishes, and we do too.
And his flexes, because goodness gracious, what a premium.
That's correct. This episode is sponsored by Canva.com and Steven. Check out the new Wall Legs album, Hall Plants, coming this October.
Jamie's a lucky SOB. Getting shout outs left and right. If he had paid $1,200, it would be left, right, and center.
Hall Plant does sound like it's like Daryl Hall and Robert Plant like getting together.
Hard pass.
I'd listen. I'd at least curious.
Wait until I'm in my self-driving car.
Stephen also asked if we have any updates on new music, a new album. What do we feel comfortable telling Stephen?
I'd say we feel comfortable telling Stephen that we are actually working on multiple new songs.
That's a fair way of putting it. I don't know if irons are completely in fires yet, but there's at least a fire started. And
there's a fire and irons are prepped.
Irons are at the ready to go into the fire, which for us means we have like demos and rough drafts sort of in various states. Is that fair?
I would say that's fair to say. Just as a kindness to Stephen and to hold ourselves accountable, when would you say is the latest those irons would be put in the fire?
Oh, geez. We were trying to plan on a Christmas release, right?
I think so.
A Christmas season release, at least.
Yeah.
So we'll see you. We'll see you Black Friday, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. That's Stephen. Hello to Jamie. We've got irons, near fires.
Wait, hello to Jamie again.
Well, now we've given him 3. So actually, Stephen, I'm going to need $400 more. Unless, Jerod, you wanted to throw out one more shout out.
Yeah. Shout out to Carl's Jr.
Ooh, okay. Our other email is from my buddy Mitch. And Mitch has a question that I guess I'll throw out to you. And I bet I know the answer. I think there's 2 questions. I'm going to allow Mitch 2 questions.
I might only answer one, but go ahead.
I think the first one is actually sort of, I think we've kind of proven ourselves on this, but he asks, have you seen Home Alone enough to quote lines before they are spoken in the film? Which, if that's not clear by now, like, what are we doing?
Our penchant for quoting so much of this movie likely is the reason we're doing this podcast, right?
I think that's sort of how this originated anyway. Like, we only sort of communicate in Home Alone lines, and our wives are just like, start a podcast already. Shut up.
They want us to stop quoting at them.
The other day, my lovely wife asked me if I knew how much the pizzas cost in Home Alone.
You're like, 10 pizzas, times $12.
I just went into the whole scene, including the very subtle lines like, you probably have the traveler checks that won't work in France. I was mildly insulted. But
yeah, I did a for the kids at the grocery store the other day.
If we had to go like Guitar Hero style, like the movie starts playing, or we just like someone like, gun to our head says reenact Home Alone 1, 2, 3, go. Like, what percentage of accuracy do you think you and I would get to?
Passing grade.
Passing grade, like 70%.
Yeah.
Of like the exact lines, we would just be able to do it.
Yeah. Do I think that we'd probably get 80-ish if they don't have to 100% be in order? Yeah. But if we're talking line by line, like you say, Guitar Hero style, where you get a when you miss one, and you kind of go to the next thing, yeah, I think passing grade we'd have.
Yes, I do too. Mitch's other question is...
Oh, Mitch, again.
I know. But you know what? He's worth it.
What is Mitch's second question?
Mitch's second question is there another film that you have seen? Like, what's another movie that you know just as well as you know Home Alone in terms of being able to quote the lines?
I'd say Empire, but what are some other ones that we've talked about band-wise? Because, like, I wouldn't say I've seen Kindergarten Cop that many times, but it's one that lends itself more to this style.
Yeah, it has a bunch of like memorable, goofy lines the same way Home Alone does.
Yeah. But if we're just talking about like, what have I seen enough to where I could get pretty good? Yeah, I'd say Empire is up there.
I like Star Wars just fine, but I don't think any of those movies I could quote like that. I think Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I could get pretty good.
Ooh, I don't think I could do that one at all.
Watched it plenty of times.
I've seen that maybe twice.
Ooh, I've seen it dozens.
I've seen the inspiration for it quite a few times.
You've seen Preston Sturgis's 1942 classic screwball comedy, Sullivan's Travels?
Yeah, I love watching prisoners laugh.
I don't mind looking at Veronica Lake in a movie.
She's second to none.
Also, when you teach ninth grade literature for a little while and you watch The Odyssey, you get to break out, "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" and go, "Here you go, kids. Coen Brothers. 4 reasons."
Do you think that's your number one, "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou"?
Maybe Billy Madison is kind of ingrained. Billy Madison sort of probably tilled some neural networks into my brain that aren't going away anytime soon. And these days with the child, it's probably like some Disney movies too. Like Tangled is getting up there. Moana is getting up there just because I watched those so many times with the kid.
Yeah, my kid's been watching My Cousin Vinny. So 2 Utes. What's a Ute? Says Herman Munster. Yeah, so I'm going to go final answer, Empire.
Okay. I'll stick with "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" as being, that's a dense movie, dialogue-wise, but there's plenty of it that's available.
I would like to know Mitch's.
Ooh, Mitch, write us back. I've shown Mitch quite a few movies, but I don't think any of those.
Right. How good of a curator are you? Are they movies that made an impact on his life?
Ooh, that's a good question. Mitch, write us back with what movies you remember me as your high school teacher making you watch, if you remember any of them.
Was one "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou"?
Didn't have Mitch for 9th grade. Had him for 10th. And 10th would have been like Lord of the Flies. And I wonder if he remembers that one, because that's black and white and slow and weird, which I like, but sometimes it puts the children to sleep. But we also had like a little movie club where we'd meet up Fridays after school and watch some movie. Because of that, I could get away with showing things unrelated to the curriculum and maybe more mature as well.
Mature as in like you should be watching it after you're, 18?
Is that how we have to get out of these now? We have to think of like, we got to get back to the number at the end. We need a minute coda to wrap it up.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
That's how you know you're done. That's better than "That's How the Cookie Crumbles."
I like our little music cue. Like, just whenever we feel like we're done, here comes that music sample.
If there was a "That's How the Cookie Crumbles" for this show, what would it be?
I think we've done it before. I think it's "Say Goodnight, Kevin. Goodnight, Kevin." That's right. That's the best we can do. That
is the best we can do. So
I'm not saying it.
I'm not moving it.
We're the most in our own way podcast. This would be really natural and fun for everyone, right? Yeah. Well, I'm not doing that.
I think it was like the Ouija board of sayings. It's like, I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it. Wait, who's saying it? I'm not saying it. It's not that you're not. It's just that someone said it, but it wasn't you.
So you refused to embrace it.
It was a ghost. It was a ghost.
Do you think we're getting supernatural help from John Hurd and John Hughes with this podcast?
I'd like to think so.
Boy, they're crappy ghosts if this is the best they can do. Like Angels in the Outfield style, like really helping us make this podcast the best it could be, and this is all we get.
Just moving the hand while you're editing.
Yeah. 12 minutes of us talking about the Guess Who.